When we came back from that maiden voyage, which was from France, and then we did come back through the canal all the way up here to San Diego to outfit it here for going around the rest of the way around the world. And we got back, and we had done a website we thought was going to be for family and friends, and this is back in 2000 to 2001, which websites weren't that great, and I had a blog in my website. Wow. And so I was sending everything. I thought it was just a convenient way to keep my family and friends and everyone updated on our adventures and our progress and what was happening. And I got more and more and more, and back in those days it sort of went viral, and I ended up with about 3 million hits on my website called www.pacificbliss.com. Wow. So when I got back from that trip, everyone says, "When's your book coming out?" I was, "What book?" And so that's really how Maiden Voyage came. So what I did is I came to this conference to figure out, how do I write a book? I've got this following now, how do I capitalize that? How can I get them to follow me the rest of the way around the world and have a book in progress at the same time? So cool. And I ended up in Matt's class, and he used to work for the company that we had. So it was like a full circle there, and I'm doing reading critique with Matt. So I came here, between every voyage, I ended up coming back to the conference. And then I wasn't getting very far when it came to agents and publishers. And I went to another conference I thought would be more in my genre, which was in Marin County, San Francisco area, and that was the Travel and Photographers Conference. Smart. Because what the agents and the publishers were telling me is that it would be very expensive to do a book like this. This is the one that just came out, and the launch is going to be in March, so it's pre-launch right now. They told me you had to group the photos in the middle and a quarter of the way and single, and not all the way through with the stories. Couldn't find any publisher that would even look at grouping it with the stories the way I wanted to do. And then I had the idea of sidebars, and the reason for that was I tried to write the book that I would have wanted to read before, when I was preparing for this, when I wanted to go around the world. And what I wanted to know was two things that I didn't want in with the story. Good. One was I wanted a little thing about the country, and not your tourist stuff, because we're off the beaten path. Just things about that country that would be your trivia questions about that country that would be nice to know, nice to have, that no one else might know. And the other one was messing with boats, and I have a sidebar on that. When I went to the San Francisco conference, a photographer, it was a photography track and a writing track. I was mostly on the writing track, but I attended this one session by a photographer. He had gone to India, South America, and Europe doing 3 Adobe Photoshop manuals, and with the photos and examples all from those areas. Doing the travel shots, paid for by Adobe. And from that, he saved enough money to do the book he really loved and wanted to do. And so what he said is, I think your idea, your concept of the layout where you want is fantastic. Did you ever think about just do it yourself, earn enough from writing articles and other things, and do what you want to do? Because he said there's nothing wrong with interspersing photos with text. It's more like a magazine, and it's that kind of a style. So I started taking segments of everything I'd written as I went along, and then I would sell them to the sailing magazines and yachting magazines, and they pay anywhere from $100 for a little piece to $500 for a nice, to $500 for a longer feature piece, and then probably $1,000 for a cover. And started taking some good quality photographs, and that way I could be a published writer and a published author before I ever published my first book. Published photographer, excuse me, and a published writer. And that also gave me a little kitty to start putting toward publishing my own book. So that was sort of the path I took, and as far as the printing process, yes, this is if you're talking a coffee table book that you want people to pick up and read for a long time, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, I had been in a business where
So you could.
I cashed out so I could be my own publisher. But I still had to learn the ropes, and I had run an app. I was a serial entrepreneur, and that's not the kind that's the cereal box for breakfast. It's the one you keep doing it over and over and over again. And don't know why, I seem to do it. So I had been an entrepreneur. I started 7 businesses in my life, all kinds of businesses. One of them was an advertising agency. So that was though back in the 70s, and things changed a lot. But I knew the basic parts about advertising, promotion, and printing, and how to do color, and how to look at things on the press. And it's so much easier now. So if I printed it in China, it would cost me 2,000 less. But I wouldn't have the quality control.
You'll blow that all flying to China for the press check.
Yeah,
No question. And then some.
I know. So you wrestle with this pros and cons and things like that. But for the cost that cost me in California to print, which went up quite a bit since the maiden voyage, only in 2 years, would mean that I cannot go to a wholesaler like Ingram and get distribution and still go out. I really have to be not only my own publisher, but in most cases my own distributor. I mean, I've been doing pretty well at Amazon. My biggest margin, of course, is when I'm selling direct. I'm giving speeches, I'm showing a slide, a multimedia slide, and I'm going to yacht clubs, and I'm doing events.
That's where it really
But you're
pays
your own
off.
publisher. In other words, you deal direct with Amazon.
I have, FBA, it's fulfillment by Amazon.
Okay.
Not Create Space or something
Right,
like
right,
that.
right.
Fulfillment by Amazon, you print it yourself.
Right.
And then when it goes, I send the quantity directly to Amazon fulfillment from the shipper. And then I send some to me, and then I send some, there's another yachting group that sells yachting books only, and I send a supply to them. So from the printer go out these different, my distribution. But if I were to go to Ingram and then have anything left over, I would have to sell the book for $49.95. And that, I think, and then you get into that issue of what do you price it at and where's your market? And so to me, that was too stiff for my market. And so this one, which is about 314 pages, is $34.95 at Amazon. And Maiden Voyage, the first one, is $29.95. But that allows me to do a little bit of discount and still get a break-even point without going through the distributor.